My mother
I was asking about cooking.
My mother did all the laundry, and my mother did all the cooking. She didn't teach anyone. She didn't ask anyone. Did you help her? It was a big deal when the holiday Passover came, and we all had dinner with Mama. I brought you and Joni, and Beth brought Jerry, and Adele brought hers, and of course Johnny.
Hers?
Peter and Susie, and Johnny was a junker for Jonah, so she wasn't there. Normie was, oh God. My mother did everything. Came the holidays, she did all the cooking. It never dawned on us to help her.
How about outside? Who did the outside work?
Outside of our house on Linden Avenue?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know?
The lawn had to be cut.
Yeah.
And the leaves had to be raked.
Yeah.
Maybe David did. I'm not
Maybe.
sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Nobody was brought up to do much of it, anything other than be what they were.
How about who slept where in that house?
Who what?
Who slept where? Did you sleep it with another person?
Oh, don't be silly, of course.
Yeah.
We only had 4 bedrooms.
So who slept where?
Normie, my brother Ed, when he was home, he was on the road. He was a salesman on the road. When he was home, he had a bedroom to himself. When he married and moved out, he was never home anymore. Joey took over. So Joey had privacy. He slept with David before that. And Normie slept with my mother until he was... My mother and father had the back room, which they had added.
Yeah.
And with 2 big double beds.
Oh.
2 double beds. So Normie slept with Mama until he was too old to sleep with Mama.
When was that? How old was he?
I don't know. That I don't know. I really don't. But
it seems all very vague to me. Nobody knows where anybody is, and nobody knows who's doing what in the house, and you know.
We never saw our brothers or my father in any state but fully dressed. Everybody kept pretty private.
Like a miracle.
Well, no.
I mean, how many bathrooms?
There was no trouble.
All
I had to do was go into the bathroom and lock the door. And you had privacy. Oh, well. Anyhow, we were fine. And we were all spoiled. When I introduced my brother to my friends, my girlfriends, they would be stunned that I had a brother. They thought I was an only child. And that's what happened to everyone. Everyone in the family, their friends thought they were
only children.
Yeah. We were pretty spoiled. We weren't taught to help Mama at all. She just did everything herself.
What do you think about that?
And even though I felt so sorry for her, do you think that I offered to help? It was like a foreign...
Yeah.
Too. No. It was...
So now that
thinking in retrospect...
Yeah.
Well, when I was a more adult, when I was an adult, I felt very sorry for her. She worked so hard. But I still didn't help
Did you ever say to yourself, did you ever say to yourself, well, she seemed to have wanted it that way. She never asked anybody to do anything.
Oh, no.
No?
I wouldn't think like that.
No?
No, that sounds spiteful. That sounds No.
No, it's not spiteful. It's kind of defensive, you know.
No, we wouldn't think like that at all.
Mm.
The only way
Did you think it was natural that all mothers did this?
I didn't know about all mothers. How did I know about
You
everyone
had
else's
school
mother?
friends, and you had school friends, and you know.
Yeah.
And did they have to do any chores?
I think that probably. I wasn't aware of. The only one I can think of, Lenore Nathan's mother, Lenore Nathan Block, was very aristocratic looking with her gray hair always coiffed. And we would have little sandwiches, you know, dainty little sandwiches with the crust cut off of white bread. White bread and hot chocolate with marshmallows. Why I remember her mother was because she was so beautifully dressed,
elegant,
and her hair was so beautifully done. And Yvonne Natos's household was like ours, only theirs was a tumult. And ours was quiet.
Was it?
It was a very quiet household, yes. And we had a lot of privacy, believe it or not. Whether it was in the kitchen, I don't know.
Were you allowed to go into the refrigerator and take anything out that you wanted?
Allowed?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be silly. Whatever was there was ours. My mother cooked 24 courses, I think. You know, there's always a lot of food. And when I think of how they slept from the Chippewa Market or the Broadway Market, first it was the Broadway Market, and I used to take Mama, when I was married and I learned how to drive, I used to drive Mama down to the Broadway Market, and she would load up. She was still loading up. I was married out of the house. Bess was married out of the house. Eddie was married out of the house. Joey was married. Everybody was out of the house. But my mother still went to the Broadway Market and loaded up on everything. In those days, $5 got you everything they had if you spent $5. Anyhow, I used to take Mama to the Broadway Market, but the one thing I hated about it, one thing only, was she took me to buy her chicken from the kosher guy.
Yeah.
And he had live chickens.
Oh.
And I was only a kid, you know, I was pretty young. And Mama would pick her live chicken. She'd blow at the feathers to look at the skin underneath to see, I don't know what to see. But she had to pick the color of the flesh, or I don't know. That's the way she picked, excuse me, she picked her chicken. And then the guy, I forgot what he was called, he had a name in Jewish, he flicked the chicken, he cut its throat and flicked the chicken, and oh, I couldn't stand that, seeing the live chicken, and then I really didn't like it one single bit. Anyhow, that's where Mama got her chicken, and all of this before I drove them down there, they would come home in a couple of streetcars or buses.
Oh, boy.
With all their packages. Anyhow.
What was your relationship with your nephew, Jerry?
My relationship? None. None.
You had no relationship with Jerry?
No, none whatsoever. Dottie did. Treated him like a young brother, you know, a little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And she she did, but I was just into dating,
Oh.
and you know how that was. You thought of nothing but yourself at that point. And so it was Johnny with Jerry, not me.
Ah. Let's see, who was next? Who had the next child?
Who was the what?
After Jerry, who was the next child? Carl, I guess.
Carl, yeah. Carl was the next grandchild. And then you.
Yep.
And then the rest followed.
Jill?
But you.
What?
And you.
I think everybody in the family thought that I was much too highfalutin with my children, too.
What
does that mean?
Well,
In that regard.
nothing was good enough for my children. That was it. And of course, I did proceed to prove them right. Public high school, I dragged you out to the seminary.
I asked you to take me to the seminary.
Pardon?
I asked you if I could go to the seminary. It was my request. You were delighted, but it was by my request. Donnie Sheriff got involved with Joan Amagon, and I didn't want to be at Bennett and see it. That's what happened. You adopted the idea about as fast as I asked you.
That must have been a big deal to pay for it. To pay for seminary.
It was a big deal?
Yeah.
Well, the cost of it was very little then.
Really?
Very little. It was like $300.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And somehow or other your father always managed. He had a pretty good practice. No matter what level the economy was at, he had a very good practice. Of course, during the Depression, it was hard to collect anything, any money.
The Depression was over, or mostly over, in 1930 when Joni was born. And I went to seminary in 1951.
Right.
So it had nothing to do with the Depression. When I went to seminary, it was 1951, well over the Depression.
Of course it was. Who said it wasn't?
Oh, you did just now. He said, of course it wasn't much then because of the Depression.
We were married in 1931, the depth of the Depression.
But no, she was saying that he did very well no matter what the state of the economy.
But during the Depression, it was hard to collect.
Oh.
I said during the Depression, it was hard to... Oh, we were married in the Depression, and he would make nothing. He would come home pockets empty. He used to walk around with whatever he collected in his pocket. It was...
Do you remember this? I don't know if you remember this, but I will never, ever forget it. You were having a telephone conversation with your husband. This was at 26 Wilbury Place. And you said the following. Dave, would you stop at the butcher's on your way home? And I want you to buy 2 pounds of chuck, and have them grind it or chop it or whatever for the dog, and 1 pound for us.
That's right. I remember that. We had that hound.
Lulu.
Great Dane.
Lulu.
Jane.
Lulu.
Lulu.
Lulu. Until the night we were upstairs. We tried to keep him barricaded in the kitchen, but he broke out. He was a wild dog. Oh, was he wild. And I said, Dave, the dog's out of the kitchen. You'd better get up and take care of it. Then he heard the dog panting up the stairs. And he turned around and said, "Not me." And we got rid of the dog. We had to get rid of the dog. It was too much for me and too much.
I was heartbroken.
Ate too much Chuck.
Too much. Yeah, but I remember that order.
And here's another one from our family photograph album that I remember. It's evening. Dad is home, and you are upstairs. And this is sort of, you haven't been feeling well all day, and he's been helpful. And he's shouting up to you, and this is when we had a chihuahua.
A what?
Chihuahua.
Oh, yes. Me.
And you had been, that's right, you had some kind of flu-y, coldy, something where you were in bed for 2 days. And Dad was taking care of the kids and the dog.
That way?
The kids and the dog.
Yeah.
And I remember Dad standing at the bottom of the stairs bellowing up, "Gert! Gert!" And you saying, "What is that?" Really sick to your stomach. He said, "The dog's eating dog food."
The dog's eating dog food.
I mean, this little dog had never even had a sniff of dog food. Nothing's secret to my baby.
He named the dog, that little chihuahua. Oh, that shiny. Oh, it was the most precious dog. One of my precious dogs. I had a Boston Bull that somebody just picked up and stole. It was such
Yeah, I remember that dog.
Tony.
a miniature, you know.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful dog, beautiful dog. And then there was the Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, that was the best.
Now, he was Mr. And
Yeah.
Mr. was
He was
his
actually Mr. Roberts.
Mr. Roberts.
that was the play at the time.
Yeah.
And we named him. Who named him? You did it?
Me.
Yeah, Mr.
I was in Mr. Roberts, so
Yeah.
that's, you know.
And he was a beautiful red Cocker Spaniel.
Buff.
Red hair.
It was buff. Was it red? It was buff.
Well, buff underneath. But,
No, it was buff.
It was buff all the way through.
Yep.
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 Two over. Yeah. We both remember buff.
Buff. Jill?
Buff.
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 Red.
Oh, we're running low on time, so that we're gonna have to wrap up pretty soon.
What?
I'm running out of
Oh.
disk space, so we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay. So what else?
Well, the dog thing was.
Do you remember when you had a shot for your they were afraid of tetanus?
That's when you were busy having Joni at the hospital.
I was in the hospital having you.
Mhm.
And Dottie was taking care of me.
Yeah.
And Dottie didn't have an awful lot of experience, like
She was
none.
married and young. She was
Oh.
married though,
Yeah.
but didn't have a child yet.
Yeah.
And they were.
So I come in bleeding and kind of throwing up and not too.
She had been hit in the playground. She was 4 years old.
Oh, poor
She had been hit
baby.
in the playground
No,
with
there was this kid across the street that just hated me.
Oh.
And he threw a bicycle wheel, a tricycle wheel, and it hit me in the forehead, and
Oh.
the spike in the middle went,
Oh.
and it was nasty. And all I could think of was, and my mother is in the hospital having this stupid baby.
Oh. We're coming to an end.
Okay.
That's it.